Browns eke out an ugly-ish win, 18-13 in the rain on the road in Jacksonville. And I'll ask everyone watching to give me their one-word reaction down below. Mine's a bit of a hyphen. Win is a win. Win, win, win. Just happy the Browns were able to somewhat tune out all the noise throughout the week, pull their bootstraps up, go on the road to a talented team like Jacksonville, and make Trevor Larwrence look like the Mr. Irrelevant pick, not the first overall pick for much of the game. But overall, 18-13 victory. It's exactly what the Browns needed. It came in a monsoon of conditions at times with the rain spitting down. But overall, the number one storyline is Deshaun Watson, and I thought he looked a hell of a lot better. Now, the bar was not super high before. He went 22 for 34, 186 yards. No touchdowns through the air. He did have a touchdown on the ground. It was the Browns' only rushing touchdown or just touchdown in general. But overall, Watson looked a lot more accurate, especially in the first half. Like that first drive of his, they marched down the field. He opened up the game 8 of 10. If you wanted to get nitpicky about the Browns and what they were failing at offensively in week 1, you could talk about Watson's inaccuracy at times, but that was not the issue today. So overall, Deshaun Watson, if you didn't catch the game, he looked better. Still has strides to make, but man, it's second game of the season. Like, we probably had really, really high expectations, and somewhat understandably so for a lot of the impatience and the frustration. But overall, I'm encouraged by what I saw out of Watson. For him to respond the way he did by putting together a really strong first half, I mean, it's just a good step in the right direction, and hopefully he can continue to make steps in the right direction and build off this game, just get better and better. Now, if we go back in time just for a brief moment to last week, there were 3 main issues I had with the Browns offense, and I put them in the order of penalties, Watson, offensive line. Watson, I say, kind of corrected himself this week. Offensive line and the penalties, line was better, but the penalties still killing the Browns. It nearly cost them this game at the end there. If you missed it, the Browns have a lead for the entire game essentially. And then when the Jags start to threaten in the second half, Browns defense forces a red zone field goal, makes it a 16-13 game. Browns get the ball. They drive down the field, and a Deontay Foreman offensive penalty on a face mask, holding on Posick, holding on Petonio, holding on Teller, knocked him out of field goal range when they were in the red zone. Penalties have to get cleaned up. I think part of the issue is so many teams are using so much pre-snap motion that these guys just simply don't know the rules when it comes to illegal shift and things like that. So that's on the coaching staff for not getting their players in the correct positions to be successful, or it's on the players for sleeping in the meetings. I don't know which one it is, but one of those 2 issues has to get corrected. Elijah Moore and Jerry Jeudy putting together really good games. Moore, 6 grabs, 44 yards. Jerry Jeudy leading the pack. 5 receptions, 73 yards. If Amari Cooper is watching this video, I know you don't need any guidance on this, but catch the ball. Like, we need Amari Cooper to kind of snap back to form a little bit. He dropped a 35-yard throw from Watson. Sorry, I'm watching the end of the Raiders-Ravens game. Raiders eke out a road win in Baltimore. Wow. But Cooper, I feel like he just needs to concentrate and snap back to form, and then the Browns offense could really be cooking with gas because the ground game was better today. I mean, it didn't take until the second half for the Browns to get a run for over 10 yards. Jerome Ford ripped one off in the first half. Also, a much more balanced approach by the Browns on the ground. Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman, both backs getting going a lot more. Now, we're going to talk about the defense in more detail in just a moment. But first, I do want to tell everyone watching about our wonderful sponsor today, which is Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Game Time is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Now, just free-flowing right now, thoughts right after the win for the Browns here. Let's talk about the defense. Jags offense got nothing going in the second half. Then a big play to Brian Thomas really got things going for them offensively in half number 2. But still, Myles Garrett back-to-back games with a strip sack, and you get the secondary just all over these Jags receivers. Denzel Ward, he doesn't have an interception yet, but he is leading the league in almost picked off passes. The front four was getting a lot of pressure. Alex Wright comes up with a sack to force a safety to essentially put this game on ice, because if they don't get that safety, even if the Jags punt back to the Browns and the Browns punt back to the Jags, I mean, Jacksonville at the end was in the field goal range territory. So Alex Wright coming up with a huge safety in the last 2 minutes of the game. But if there's one thing to be critical of, I would say the run defense, especially in the second half. Jacksonville started to get some momentum and a rhythm going because they started to pound the rock with Travis Etienne and our old friend Dearness Johnson. So run defense was showing shades of 2021 Joe Woods, and then every once in a while Jim Schwartz would come in and knock that out. But if we want to get down to the nitty-gritty, like that could be one thing that you look back at as a, hey, what can we get better at? But overall, you go on the road and you hold your opponent to 13 points, I'm not going to be too upset with it. Also, just popped in my head right now. Remember earlier when I got really upset about the penalties? I mean, if you want a prime example of penalties holding this team's back, even Dustin Hopkins was like, hey, mind if I get a penalty and wipe away a forced fumble and a fumble recovery? Winston Reed, a no-name special team linebacker, makes a huge play, and unfortunately, it's all wiped away because Hopkins gets across the 50-yard line before the ball gets touched by the receiving team. So just stuff like that where you're like, these things have to get corrected, and they're somewhat lucky to get by this week with a win after having, I'm going to just ballpark right now, 14 penalties for probably about 150 yards. Someone fact-check me in the comment section, but that has to be correction number 1 for the Browns this week. Reduce the penalties. Overall, the Browns get better quarterback play from Watson, playmaking ability from their receivers like Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore. Defense really buckled in here. Special teams was still great special teams like Corey Bojorquez pinning them at the 2-yard line. All 3 phases looked good. They just all didn't look good at the same time. Mostly in that third quarter when the offense kind of took their foot off the gas and the defense started to get gashed a little bit more. But they made the plays at the end of the game when they had to eradicate any little cute Disney comeback movie. And the Browns improved to 1-1. And they keep kind of their playoff hopes alive, because when you fall to 0-2, that's a much taller mountain to climb than 0-1. So make sure to subscribe. We're going to keep you guys in the loop all season long. Drop a W in the comment section if you're still watching right now to celebrate this win.